Hi, I'm Seamless, and this is the 71st 75K tutorial. This one was requested by BigJackkk, and it's a song from Banvox called Summer, and the sound is this. It's the lead. Now, a lot of you already know what this is, which is this. Relax, FL. It's a saw wave, and it's low pass, and I even like complicated it just because with this harmonic patch by using unison and adjusting the prism and then distorting it and low passing it and then delay and reverb and all that stuff. Like, that's not necessary because the sound is literally a low pass saw. And I'm doing this because I want to use this as a teaching moment for how to like progress in your sound design abilities. And I know that like not everyone wants to be a sound designer and you want to just take sounds and use them and then not have to worry about the science about it, whatever. The science of this one is that you just learn what the basic waveforms sound like on across the keyboard. Like you play a low note, like you used to, like that's what a saw wave sounds like. I wonder what it sounds like way up high. Oh, hey, that's what that is with the low pass. Like, with that basic combination of like the most basic, it's a saw wave and a low pass filter. The first two things any sound designer runs into when they first start up anything. Like every synth default setting is a saw wave. How do you not get there? I mean, if your brand spanking new, then whatever, I can get you not doing that. But like, and I'm not necessarily saying that like I'm free of this, because I've totally had the same problem. Tons of sounds that were like just basic stuff, like a saw wave and a bandpass filter. Like I didn't use bandpass filters for the longest time, so how would I have known that? But like you should experiment with this stuff because it's embarrassingly basic. It's embarrassingly basic, especially like when trap became a thing, and then a lot of the higher frequency like leads in there were just saws. And not even detuned saws. And eventually they got more complicated, but at the beginning they were just saws. And people would just be like, okay, well, what's that? That's a saw wave. Okay, well, what's that? Well, that's also a saw wave. Well, what's that? That's also a saw wave. Like, and this is also why I tend to say things about how like 70% of all sound design is saw waves. And if you can figure that out, then you're pretty much golden. And like whole songs that were big blockbuster Grammy winning hits were made entirely out of saw waves. It's that kind of stuff. That's why you want to be up on your saw waves and up on like what the waveforms sound like at various pitches. Like what was that Skrillex song? It was on his Stranger. The nee 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 dee 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 nee nee. That's just a saw wave with some volume automation and pitching and reverb, and that's the end of that. And it's just like people would just be like, oh, I don't get this, but whatever. It's like they just haven't played a saw wave high enough to have in their memory what that sounds like. So that when they hear something that uses it, they can identify that as being a saw wave. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to give you this patch. Come on. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and all that good stuff. And as usual, have a nice day.